Well, hello there, everybody. How are you all doing? So good to see you as I am getting the bus ready to go. Let's see. And I am going over here, Judith, and we are live. I can see us, so we are good. So welcome everyone. How are y'all doing? It's the technology thing. It's like the sun's going wild, systems are up, the computers are starting to collaborate with the mouses. It's crazy. It's madness. And that is the theme of our show. So speaking favor over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. I'm happy to have a really what I considered a friend and former, not former, I mean a parallel thinker. Let's get the
Former
former out of
thinker.
there. It's like,
No, she
yeah.
doesn't think anymore.
Yeah, there was that time I was real concerned about that, Judith. But anyway, folks, this is Judith Kwoba of Night Flight, the channel, and I actually put the link. And by the way, Judith, I put the link that was originally on there and it didn't work. So I had to go to another part of your page, and so it works. So you see the link, subscribe. I mean, her channel really should be about parallel where I am. So yeah. There's Gogo from Croatia. We reach all around the world. And hello, everyone in the chat room. Thank you. And thank you, all the moderators. So, again, think about subscribing, get her count up. That's the best way to say that you appreciate what she does. And she has very good quality podcast on there. And I can tell you, Judith, I was surprised to see you started your channel in 2010.
Yes. No, no, 18.
Well, it says in your profile
Yeah,
2010.
okay. I registered in 2010,
Oh, okay.
but I didn't do podcasts before the end of 2018.
Well, that's a good question to lead into. So, what made you become a podcaster?
Yeah, okay. For many, many years, I listened to people that I found really interesting, Ilana Freeland and um, yeah, a number of people.
Hmm.
So, and then in 2017, my company that I had been working for went bust. It went belly up. And that was, yeah, shortly before I turned 60. So I knew that it would be a little bit iffy to find a new job. So, and then I had all this time, I had to structure my day all by myself. Yeah, there was no more schedule for me. So, and then I thought, well, actually, you have listened to so many people for years and years and years. You have questions as well. Just try to send some emails and see if they say yes. If they say no, it's okay as well. And that is how it started. And then I, yeah, and then
You have
came the
quality
brain tumor.
guest. I have to say, your guest list is outstanding.
Oh, thank you.
You know?
Thank you. Yeah, and then came the brain tumor. And so then I didn't have to rejoin the workforce anyhow, because after that surgery, I had a small leftover. Yeah. And then I was out of the workforce, which was very good because during the Corona nonsense, I was
Hmm.
completely out of it. Yeah.
Escaped it, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah, that's
That's
code if y'all don't know. So, because you have
yeah,
to speak in code.
yeah, I mean, okay, the brain tumor itself was not the funniest experience of my life, but it was not
The end of your
malevolent.
life.
No, no, it was
Yeah.
not malevolent. So, but it had to be removed because it was sitting somewhere where, your sense of
Mm.
balance is.
Yeah.
And I had reached a point where, because I hate to go to doctors,
Not
And
alone in that idea.
yeah, the doctor and the butcher wearing the same uniform.
Exactly. They do admit they practice it. They didn't say they know it, they practice it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I had reached a point where I could not even keep a um, sip of water in my stomach. Everything came out again. And so then I knocked at my neighbor's door and told him to call the ambulance. And on my birthday in December 2019, was that? Yeah, 19. Yeah, they operated.
Wow.
Mm.
I see it in one aspect, that's serious business. I mean, you're operating on the brain. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the main unit there. And I had meningitis where my brain had swollen, but in one aspect, it seemed like it opened up a door for you and you've grown and experienced. I mean, I love what your channel is because it's not for a closed-minded perspective, but if you're looking for a diverse opinion, a diverse perspective from some brilliant people, um, it's a great resource.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's true.
Yes, I you know that I do not have a cell phone. Yeah, I told you that,
Mm.
and I felt very sorry because I was supposed to have an interview with the Jerry Mazinski on the day that they operated
Oh,
on
wow.
me, so I couldn't tell him. Yeah, um, and he was waiting for me, and I didn't show up. And I left the hospital after 6 days because I had enough of the nonsense. And so then I sent him an email and I said, no, I didn't forget you. I was in
I
surgery.
was a little tied up at the moment. Yeah, just a little busy. They're operating on my brain. Oh, my goodness. And I'm sure he understood at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it 2 weeks later and did almost 3 hours together.
Fantastic. Again, folks, think about subscribing if you haven't. That's the best way to show the appreciation. So, Judith, you and I have met a number of times. I've been on your channel and you've been on mine. And when we were talking, you had talked about, the madness that's taking place in your country, the madness taking place in our country. And I thought the release today of a portrait, I think, is very telling because it really exemplifies this madness. Now, folks, I don't know if many of you have seen the new picture, the official, let me just make sure that I have this right, the official portrait of the king. And you and I were talking about this right before we went live. So, folks, I'm going to share this with you. Now, this is a double image of the portrait. And if many of you know how you can do, and actually it's an old occult practice, even Da Vinci did it, is that you have a painting, but if you mirror that painting up, it gives you another painting, another image. And so this is King Charles III. This is the official government portrait. Sure I'm not got that right, but of the royal line. And Judith, you and I were talking, and you can clearly see the face. It's very evident. And I was telling you, and folks, tomorrow I'm going to get into the files. I've seen this picture before, and we're going to see it. And where I got it from was actually the Yellow Rose of Texas when she put this out. Oh my goodness, I guess it's been almost 8 years ago. Seeing this picture in the sun.
Mm.
So this is obviously a picture of an entity. It could be argued by lesser open minds that there's nothing here, that this is pareidolia, and you're just merely seeing something that really isn't there. Um, however, I think that there's another perspective. Now, I was telling you, I did some research on this, Judith, and the red butterfly, everyone can see it right here. I think I can probably even, there you go. And there you really see the face. So this red butterfly over here signifies transformation. In many beliefs across the globe, it represents a powerful spirit. Take, for instance, in Scotland, it's representing a witch in disguise, but it can be said that it is a picture of evil and danger. What do you think?
Yeah, it's so creepy. I mean, the picture that emerges. But honestly, I'm not really very surprised because one thing is for sure, monitoring the 3D news is not useless. I wouldn't say that, but never forget there's a totally different layer above or underneath it, no matter how you would like to look at it. And that is entities. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Most likely from the astral realm. I had several interviews with
yeah.
Alubad, who is, you should get him on,
I'd love
really.
to have them on. I've invited a number of people. I think sometimes when they see my content, they think that I'm some sort of Luciferian or Satanist, and I'm just going, it's like,
Yeah, yeah, well, do you have his email address?
I do not. No.
Yeah, I will give it to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, and he's flying missions
Wow.
um, in the astral realm and with a number of people all over the world. And,
We have
uh,
uh,
and
uh,
they destroyed, for instance, a giant luge grid a
oh,
couple of weeks ago. And yeah, so that is the overlay. And that is why
yes.
I'm surprised to say that.
Very well put. By the way, there was just a small armada of helicopters that was went over.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they're coming to get you now.
yeah, it's like, that's all right, Steiger. We know exactly where you are, dude, and this is what's up. I get it. I
They're
totally
coming to
get it.
take me away, he
You know, I just have to look at him and say, we're all crazy here. So anyway, I'll be curious to see what
Shall I
everyone.
share mine?
Pardon?
Shall I share mine?
Yes, please. A little. We'll have a little more humor
Yeah.
to this.
You show me yours, I show you mine.
We have a
Yeah, but
president that said that.
you have to give me permission. I cannot share it.
Oh, yes, I give you permission. Oh, I have to give you permission here. Well, excuse me. There you go.
Okay.
There we are.
Yeah.
I had to share, everybody.
Now I have to no, no, no. It will. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. I love this one. The solar flares will continue until morale improves. Wow. Yeah, we could use a little bit of that, more morale.
Oh, I'll tell you, they're sucking it out of us. I mean, it's the craziness, like the solar flares, um, and more coming.
Yeah. Yeah, we yesterday was the biggest one in solar cycle 25.
Yeah, 8.8. Is that what I
But
heard?
it is not Earth facing. Otherwise, it could have gone remarkably bad.
Yes, and it's like kind of, I like Vegas. I love playing roulette. It's my game. But it's also like playing craps. I can put the number on the box cars
Mm.
because the odds say, well, that's crazy. That's why they pay such good odds. But the way I look at it, we're going to get spanked here eventually. I mean, the magnetic field is down, it's weakening continually, and well, we have another 2 years in this cycle before yeah, I think it is two. Yeah.
I have no idea when it ends, but honestly, I'm not saying this cannot happen. Of course, the possibility is there, but honestly, the sun doesn't give me so much pause for thought. The craziness that is going on, the craziness that we produce, yeah, on various levels, that is much more, yeah, not exactly frightening, but irritating to me.
So what's happening in Germany these days? We've got the Trump syndrome and the whole craziness here, and election season is always the crazy season. So what's taking place?
Yeah, our government has successfully ruined the country. And even the IMF says we are last in all the industrial countries.
Wow.
So, but our government still thinks that they did nothing wrong. And while we are having retirees, searching the garbage bins for refundable bottles, yeah, you get usually for a plastic bottle 25 cents.
Yeah.
If you have 10 bottles, then you have 2 euros 50. If you collect enough, then maybe you can then go to the supermarket where you return them, and then you can buy yourself a little bit to eat. So while that is going on, one thing is they throw out money with both hands around the world. I have written down just a few. This is a very short list, but here it comes. 11 million for Rwanda's biotech industry. Okay, that is all foreign aid, yeah, so that we are clear. 12 million for climate resilient development in the Mekong Delta. 315 million for bicycle paths in Peru.
Oh, it's exactly what they need.
And when it was criticized, the female minister who was in charge of throwing our money around, she said that these bicycle paths in Peru actually protect Germany. It's good for our safety.
Hey, trying
Okay,
to
so
connect the
so he,
dots.
and the last one, that is actually not a foreign aid, but it's also very very ridiculous. 7.6 million for climate-friendly repairs like toasters and such.
Okay. Who does that? And I mean, wow. And these are
And
intelligent people, right?
allegedly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, as I said, this is a very, very small list. And I'm just baffled. Yeah. Every time I see news like that, yeah, they are out of their mind.
Is
And
you
did I tell you the story of Oranienburg?
no.
Okay. Oranienburg is a city in the vicinity of Berlin. So now the city has released the following, that it is currently not possible to give you access. If you build a new home, let's say you're in the last phase of building your home, your company, your supermarket, whatever, and you didn't apply for access to the electricity, to the power grid last year, then they cannot give you access to the power grid because there is not enough power to go around. Yeah, yeah. But our government thinks that their green politics is very, very successful.
Mm.
And that is just one city. And I'm pretty sure that sooner or later, other cities will follow.
Well, that
So,
stifles all growth.
yes, of course.
No growth, you have stagnation. Stagnation goes into recession. Recession, if it's not countermeasured, gets into
Mhm.
depression.
Yeah.
Do you have
And
the homeless there in Germany? Is that increasing?
yes. And we have, of course, a huge migrant problem. We have now, on average, 2 gang rapes per week in Germany. That was an issue that we never had. I'm not saying, that it never happened, but we didn't, it wasn't really an issue.
Yeah, we're having the same problem here. We're in the midst of an invasion. Everybody
Mhm.
knows it. No one does anything about it. That's the madness. We are allowing these policies that can be easily reversed. It's not like it's an engine. Now, some
No,
people would argue, but it is. No, it's we humans are supposed to be the ones in control. So in here in this country, we're seeing the same thing. We're seeing these illegal migrants. They're aliens, what they are, illegal aliens. I'll just put it out there. And the thing about it is, we're finding out now companies like Venezuela, Guatemalan, they're emptying out their prisons, their mental hospitals, their hospitals in general, and sending these people here into the United States, where now in the United States, inflation has gotten so bad the government lies about the numbers of what they actually count as far as being inflation. And when you take groceries out and you take fuel out of the equation, well, then you have low inflation, right? Even though it's sky high. And speaking of this, because this gets me passionate about it. So I was at the store this morning, and as I'm walking out the door, I had 5 bags, and a guy coming in said, "Well, what'd you do? Pay 500 for that?" And it's becoming an issue even in the small community I am. Families are starting to go hungry.
yeah.
But yet our country, like yours, is spending money hand over fist. Every 90 days in the United States, we're spending $1 trillion. And so getting back into Germany, are the is there representative of the people that can actually begin to go against these?
Oh, there is. And the woke bubble is fighting them tooth and nails. Regardless of what you think about the party system, I'm personally not such a friend of a party system. But okay, it is what we have right now, and that is what we have to deal with. Okay, so there is one opposition party that is against mass migration that has been saying for years you have to close the borders. And there are actually more than 100,000 illegal immigrants that already have been denied um, staying here in Germany. And yet they are still there. And they get Social Security from the government.
Now that I don't understand, and in fact, it's happening here. We have cities like in Denver. The average illegal immigrant, are you ready for this? $9,000 a month.
Mm.
Now, we don't pay that in Social Security to those on Social Security. They're giving them free medicine, free food, free housing, free clothes, free, and that's madness. I don't,
Yeah.
and it's happening in your country. And your country is much more smaller in economic size and what have you than the United States. That's got to be a burden upon the citizen. Oh, I don't. It's madness. It really is.
Yeah, it is madness. And but they need new voters. Now
Ah,
they
yes.
now they want to give them passports very, very quickly here in Germany, hoping because they know that their days have been numbered. Well, the parties that are in power now, we have the EU election beginning of June. And now this one party, as I said, gets smeared, and one trumped up scandal goes through the media one after another. Yet now, just when was it? Yesterday or the day before yesterday? I guess on Monday. Um, we have something here in Germany, it's called Verfassungsschutz. That is like constitutional protection. You could say an interior intelligence service. So,
Like our
but
CIA, FBI.
yeah, but this organization is not independent. They directly have to answer to the Minister of Interior, and they only, investigate what she's telling them. And the one that we have in charge now is a left-wing radical, hands down. So, and so now this party went to court because they knew that they are observed by this agency, meaning their phone calls, emails, everything gets read, and on it goes. So the court, the first trial, they lost that. Now they went to court again, and yeah, they lost that one as well. But during the trial, their lawyer introduced like 400 motions. They wanted to force them that they prove that they are, because they always call them Nazis, which they are not. Yeah, and they wanted to force them to prove
That they
that,
weren't Nazis.
yeah, exactly. So they filed like 400 motions, and guess what? All of them were ignored by the court. The
Good.
court just took the opinion of this intelligence service and said, yeah, okay, you can go ahead and you can observe them. So now they will go to another court, and then it might end up in front of the EU court and whatever. Yeah. The EU already has told Germany that they are not allowed to issue international arrest warrants because the prosecution in Germany is not independent enough. So we have that officially. Yeah, the prosecution here in Germany is directly under the Minister of Interior of each federal state, meaning if that person, the Minister of Internal Affairs, is saying, no, 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 you are not going to investigate it, then it will not be investigated.
Yeah, we got that same problem over here too. What type of form of government does Germany have? I know it's a democracy, but is it represented by just two
Yeah,
parties,
yeah,
or is
yeah.
there?
No, 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 no. We have a lot of parties, a lot of
Okay,
parties. And now we have a government consisting of three parties.
so it's a coalition.
It's a coalition, yeah. In Germany, no party gets enough votes to govern by themselves.
I
Nobody.
like that form of, I've contended in the United States that the two-party system is broken and they control the power, and it's very difficult to get in any particular size or strength. It's designed for a two-party system, which is really the uniparty. It's really just
Yeah,
one party.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And
And
go ahead,
yeah,
hon.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just surprised at the corruption level because we've got it here as well. I
Mhm.
mean, we have a government who's prosecuting a political opponent. We have what was always considered our Department of Justice. In fact, one of the employees at the DOJ says that there's been so much corruption in the Department of Justice and the FBI that it's going to take decades to reform it.
Yeah.
And there's a parallel. I'm hearing what's happening in Germany, and I'm going, but I can point to the same parallels here. And I'm sure if we had Jenny on or someone from the UK, we'd probably have the same issue there as well.
Yeah, it's I would say a very clear attempt to destroy Western culture as we have known it.
Bingo. And that brings up really the big question then, because if you have something you want to replace something with, that means it's already been planned.
Mhm.
And it seems to be, again, so here's the occult philosopher in me. I'm looking at this and I'm going, humans. We're so easily manipulated. And when we're supposed to be at the height of our intelligence, our technology, all of this is supposed to be the crowning glory of our species, but yet we're seeing what appears to me to be the deliberate collapse of a culture, of civilization. It is civilization. And if you're going to replace it, then what do you think they're going to replace it with?
I don't believe they have a clear idea about that.
That's scary.
Uh, I see
That's
them
even worse
more,
if they had a plan. It's like,
yeah, I see them more like little children that are having fun, um, smashing the china. Yeah,
yeah.
one
Or like the
plate after the
Taliban,
other.
destroying Mesopotamian monuments that were tens, potentially 5 to 7,000 years old.
Mm.
The idiocy of our species. Judith, it gets me at times riled up because, you know, we got the construct of God. We got this whole construct of what we think are laws, that these are what define us as a species. But yet, the madness that we why is it? That's the thing I keep asking is if we were really, if there is really an ET, other civilizations of a higher intelligence, I think that they say we are zero point 0.7 on the scale of civilizations, that if we ever made it to five, that's supposed to be the ultimate. I don't think we ever are because it seems like there is a deliberate process here of tearing down what has been built up for I don't know, last 400 or 500 years.
And even, I have no, personally, I don't doubt that there are other life forms out there. Yeah, I don't doubt it. What other people think, that is their business.
Sure. Yeah.
But even those, if you look into it, they are constantly at war as well. And having more better technology doesn't mean that you are mentally and spiritually more evolved. And when I look at our species, I have to say we have been devolving for a number of decades now. You can hardly have a decent conversation. Yeah. Um, a huge chunk of the population is believing, still believing everything that comes out of the TV unfiltered. Yeah. And that is what shapes their reality. There is very, very little personal research or a second thought. And I, I mean, I haven't had a TV for a really long time now, and I always felt that that was a dumbing down machine.
Yeah, well, my grandfather called it the idiot box. And, that's what I have a question for you. Out of the hundreds of interviews that you have done on the diversity of topics, which many of them having to deal with us, our species,
Mhm.
whether it's from an esoteric, religious, or secular point of view. If you had the opportunity to basically condense down all of those interviews, what have you come to learn out of all the interviews that you've done? Let's say about our species, about human beings.
That we have been sold out and the wool has been pulled over our eyes since day one.
Wow. Yeah.
And there has always been meddling by other entities uh, with us, in us, most likely even our DNA. And so I don't really see that we had a fair chance.
Yeah.
But that is no excuse for sitting back and enjoy the beer and watch the football game, and then that's it.
Do you think, I brought this up to the audience here that it seems like we're almost incapable of achieving that where we could say live in peace, live in love with one another. I contend, and as I went through all of your channel and just again some very quality interviews, that there's never been a time, at least in the written record, where we have lived in peace, that we've ever
Mhm.
lived in peace with other skin colors, other ethnic groups, etc., or religious. It seems like there's always division. And you said it best right there a minute ago. We've never been given a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, my interviews with Gary Wayne.
Hmm.
Although I do not share his belief system, he's a Christian,
Yeah. Yep.
but that's okay. He can believe what he wants. But his research is really impeccable. Yeah. His first book, it's I mean almost 1,000 pages, The Genesis 6
Yeah.
Conspiracy.
It's right over here. I
And
got it on my shelf.
yeah, and the last 300 pages is just footnotes. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I have done so many interviews with him now, and it became very clear to me that this meddling has been going on for eons.
Yeah, I think in many cases, if you take the Christian perspective, and I have a respect for Gary, I like his
Yeah.
work, and it's aided to me in some of my conclusions that particularly Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 are two different creations, two
Mhm.
different worlds. This earth that is spoken about in Genesis 1 doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
The one in Genesis 2, good debate that this is the one that we live in. And the 6 day people, the dark hair, the blackheads, that's the one that he came up with. Very interesting in that research and the study. Now, I take it that we're talking about two different alien entities. Book one, chapter one, is of an essence that we don't know of. It's gone. And what we're stuck with now seems to be inferior. That's just my summation of what I would say the Bible is a story of an inferior being who is proclaiming to be the only one being, which is not true. But that all that's done to our species is to confuse us even more.
Mhm.
I think that it's evidence that we as human beings, and even more so today, are more confused than we ever have. I think that's what this internet, I contend the internet is not a tool for enriching our knowledge, but it's a weapon. It's there to, and yesterday, I don't know if you read the story, I showed it to the audience, but now AI has learned how to lie.
Mm.
To me, and this morning, as I was thinking of the topic here, which was perfect, that's complete madness.
Mhm.
In
It
fact,
can
that's scary.
be. Yeah, I would say it can be a tool for knowledge, but you really have to know where to look. There's a lot of nonsense out there, of course. And yeah, and you know, ChatGPT, it's totally woke.
Oh,
It,
I
it,
mean,
it, it's so useless.
and that's the
And
one that they were talking about, that it's learned to lie.
mhm,
So if
yeah.
it's learned to lie, as I was talking to the ladies yesterday, Jenny and Trina, that then, okay, wait a minute. Then how can we call that an artificial intelligence now? If it learns and understands the concept of deception, to me, that represents a higher um, algorithm. It's a higher thought level.
Mhm. Yeah, sure. And maybe one day it will learn to, yeah, recreate itself.
Well, you want to know a scary thing here in the United States? It is now, and it's been passed by a number of courts in different states, that lawyers can now have AI write their briefs.
Mm.
So we're seeing this complete dumbing down, because when a machine's doing your thinking, I don't have to think about that. I don't have to use my cognitive abilities that, I mean, number one, I have to write, I have to think coherently, I have to be able to construct a thought in a structure of a strategy. And if I'm letting that for a machine to do that, to me, that's the most dangerous thing that we could be thinking about doing. It takes us completely. If AI starts making laws, then we are truly an enslaved race. And you're right. We don't have, I don't think we stand a chance. I don't, and I know that there's the other side of being positive about this, but people don't understand legalese is a different language. It rules us.
Yeah, I look, honestly, we are already for a huge part under AI control. If
Yeah.
you think about YouTube, yeah.
Hmm.
And now recently they deleted two interviews of mine again. So there are so many interviews missing in the meantime. If anybody wants to see the full enchilada, you have to go to Odyssey.
There you go, folks. Yeah. Yeah. They've
And
deleted over thousands of mine, 1,000. I mean, it's just crazy.
yeah, and so that is an AI that makes that decision. So we are already under the thumb
Yeah, and
to a certain
AI's listening to us
extent.
right now. In fact, I just saw that I just froze up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that they like that. That is weird. When we were talking specifically the AI basically censoring or monitoring our words. Yeah. Hey, Grace, what's up? All the ones in the chat room. Um, it's frightening. And as you said, we're already being ruled by that.
Mhm. Yeah. And
Hmm.
you know, of course, you can say no here. I want you to review that, and then there sits a person. But I know how it goes. Usually, within 20 minutes, you have the answer, and the answer is, unfortunately, we fear that this content has to be removed, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, so I no longer deal with that. And I had to put my channel on private now twice for 3 months because when you have two strikes, then the third strike, okay, the entire channel is gone. So then I put it on private for 3 months, wait until all the strikes are gone. And that way, I avoid that the channel gets deleted completely. And in my case, in both cases, when I came back, the third strike has been waiting. And then, okay, you get that third one, but then it's only a warning because the other ones have been, time is
I've been
over.
aware of that. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I put it public again, and that what so, and the AI already thinks it has deleted your channel.
Hmm. That's messed up. I mean, it really
Yeah,
is.
it's
You
totally
look
messed
back
up.
on YouTube when it first started. I mean, it was a fun platform.
Mhm.
It allowed we think here in the United States that we have the uh constitutional right of freedom of religion. That can be the furthest reality that there is. There is no, I mean, not religion of speech. Um, and that's not the case.
Mhm.
I mean, today you have to worry about, well, are you offending someone? Is it can be contrived as, other than what it was spoken when it was never spoken in malice or ever in a harsh way? I mean, it's just we are humans. We should have the ability as intellectuals to be able to discuss and to debate issues that would not be of one particular party or ideology's agenda.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so as in Germany, so I keep on forgetting that y'all are part of the EU. So
Mhm.
you have elections in your country, and then you have elections then for the EU, right?
Yeah, but also in our country. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so I'm curious in the EU, are there parties? How does that work? Uh,
Yeah, well, um, every country votes, yeah, they vote for their parties, and then the ones who have the most votes, they go to Brussels. But yes, there is a EU Parliament, but it's you can't say the EU is democratic. Although they have a parliament, the decisions are made by the EU Commission, and the EU Commission is headed by Ursula von der Leyen, a German from CDU, yeah, horrible party. Um, and she Nobody voted for her. She was just installed.
oh
And the
wow.
commission usually makes the decisions, what is going to happen and what not. And the parliament, to me, it's window dressing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so because there's no accountability to the constituents, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
And the commission
that
more
ain't
or
no
less,
democracy.
yeah, yeah. So no, it has nothing to do with a democratic model, I would say. So and yeah, we will see. We will see
So the
what.
EU then would have, do they have authority to override the sovereignty of a country, a nation?
The thing is that they release a lot of laws that have to be followed by other EU members. Yeah. So now, for instance, they wanted to ban anything that is not an electric car by 2030, but reality struck back, and there are hardly any, Mercedes just the other day announced that they will completely trash their e-mobile branch because there is no money in it, and you can hardly find a used electric car. And yeah, so they will not be able to do that by 2030 or 2035. It will not be possible.
So
But
interesting.
it was their dream. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the 80s, I was prophecy of a student of biblical prophecy.
Mhm.
Had a number of mentors and teachers that Hilton Sutton being one and others. But my point to all this, um, we spent a great deal of time studying the EU
Mhm.
and how it was fulfilling prophecy in the book of Daniel.
Mhm.
The book of Daniel prophesied the formation of the EU, and so everyone is still kind of waiting for, the story is of how eventually the Antichrist will arise within the EU, and I'm sure you've heard this already. What is your take on that? I mean, because you're actually right under it. I mean, uh, curious.
Yeah, it also has to do with the fact that mostly here in the West, we concentrate on the 13 Western bloodlines. Yeah, the bloodlines of families. And that is why, and there are also movies out there, and then the Antichrist always comes out of the EU. But don't forget, there are more bloodlines, the Shahs. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Forgot
Xi
about that.
Jinping. Xi Jinping. Xi is short for Shah. That is a bloodline. Then we have the one that Putin is a part of, yeah, the Putinianins. Yeah, the name Putin pops up with his, I don't know, grandfather or great grandfather all of a sudden. And what happened when the royals had bastards, yeah, so children out of wedlock.
Yes.
And what usually happened, they gave them half a name. So the original Zasputnianins, yeah, that was
Short to
not
Putin.
happening. So with his grandfather or great grandfather, I'm not quite sure right now, um, popped up the name Putin. That is a bloodline. We have the Kishamaya in South America. That is another bloodline. So I wouldn't say it will definitely come out of the EU. Could it be? Yes, of course, but I wouldn't count out the other bloodlines.
And the reason
And
why I think this, go ahead, hon.
and as Gary said many times, these bloodline families have at least one person ready each generation to go as the Antichrist.
Yeah, yeah.
If that will happen that way, I don't know either. Yeah, I just know that they are prepared.
It's interesting because it seems to be pushing towards a conclusion. And this has nothing to do with biblical anything. It's just the fact that you see these bloodlines and they played a role. Many times they're never really discovered in the backdrop, but yet they're the ones driving the complete agenda.
Hmm.
And it makes me wonder because in the book of Daniel, it talks about Russia. It talks about its alliance with China. It talks about it's going to suffer a defeat. And then it is replenished by the tiger. So yeah, it's just interesting, which again to me is a script that they allowed us to see, and we put it into the context that it has to do with some unseen deity, when in fact it may be nothing more than these bloodlines going to what I would say a restart.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's what I see the whole climate agenda. You were talking about the electric cars. Well, it's something over here the Biden administration's been pushed. The problem is our grid can't handle it. Our electrical
Same
grid
here.
is adequated.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the madness, they want to electrify everything here, even heating. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even use wood over there, can you?
Yeah, they are in the process of forbidding it. And
But we
so
can't hook you
now,
up to the grid either.
yeah, yeah. But instead of building the infrastructure first, They come up with all their wonderful dreams, and then it turns out that the city of Oranienburg cannot even grant you access for your two-family house. Hey.
And that was probably an energy efficient house, right? So it has more efficiency than the average house, but I'm sorry, we can't let you have any electricity to actually be a conserve. Now that's just, it's crazy. It's
Mhm.
madness.
Yeah.
So in the short little time that we have here, Judith, where do you see do you see this coming to a conclusion? Or do you think this is going just to be something that will be continually drawn out for several hundred more years?
What exactly comes to a
Well,
conclusion?
this whole madness that we're in,
Hmm.
governments making asinine laws, regulations that are completely counterintuitive of actually solving the so-called law that it was supposed to.
Yeah, that will drag out a little bit longer, definitely, especially because the media is completely nuts. And to me, it's more like a different branch of the government right now instead of a controlling force. Yeah, there is not a lot of criticism no matter what they do.
And this is
And
the same government that's told you, the citizens, to prepare for war, right?
yeah, and they want to reintroduce the draft system now.
Oh, really? That's right, because you're not so far
And
from
and and
Ukraine.
and mind the wording, all capable human beings,
I
not
don't like
men.
that. I mean, what is that? What is capable? How to define
Yeah,
that?
that means
Wait a minute.
women, men, everybody has to go.
Ay, ay, ay. We've been down this road before and we never learn. Your nation above all other nations. I mean, I often wondered about Germany. Germany should be the leader of peace and the counter thought to this mindset that's here. You guys, you suffered terribly. I mean, I have
Yeah,
German blood
but
in me.
unfortunately, Germany has become a vassal state of the United States. And a lot of things that are implemented here have been demanded by the US.
There you go. I mean, and there's your problem.
Yeah.
Because it's like the United States really knows what it's doing. Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, no problem. Ay,
Yeah, and
ay,
that is
ay.
why the situation in many affairs are very, very similar.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the illegal immigration and
the
this mad
parallels are uncanny.
green agenda and what have you. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, the green agenda. I mean, and here in this country, it's always about electricity, but how do you make electricity? Well, you're going to have to use nuclear power because you shut down all the coal plants, all the wind plants don't work. We found out that the solar panels ain't such a good idea either. And meantime, we have this natural, clean, non-polluting thing called natural gas.
Hmm.
No, we can't use that. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
ay,
Oh,
ay.
did you, by the way, did you hear that they shot, there was an assassination attempt today on the Slovakian prime minister?
The one that was speaking against the Ukraine war, right?
Yeah, and not only that, he just recently announced that Slovakia will not sign the UN, the WHO treaty.
Yeah, and AI is listening for that one. Holy crap.
Mm.
Bonnie says there's only one government. Yeah, it definitely would seem that is the case. Judith, got to have you back on. Listen, I'm going to have my 10-year anniversary on YouTube in on June. The 15th on a Saturday, so I'll do it on a Friday, but hopefully you can come back on that. Love to have you
Yeah,
on.
sure,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
We'll be well into the crazy season here, so we can give each other an update as to who is going to finish the line as the nut. 'Cause
The nut race.
I'm just telling you, we've got to. I like the little meme you had there. They're going to continue until morale's built up. So come on, folks,
Yeah,
lift up
Ra
those
has
spirits.
spoken.
Yeah, Raw is, and we don't want to get them pissed off. You know, and it's so funny. I always remember when I always think of Amen, it's like, oh, I'm in Raw. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Sure, he's not real. Blazing River says, great show. Well, thank you. Judith, you have been a delightful guest.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
I just enjoy
Thanks
it
for
so
having
much.
me.
What's that, hon?
I said thanks for having me.
Oh,
Always
are
a
you
pleasure
kidding?
to
I apologize for not having you on more often. That's just sometimes who I am. And I'm like you, I put sometimes emails out and they get, you feel like, well, thank you, but I don't know if your content fight goes with them. Okay. It's all right. Uh, all right, my dear. Thank you. And again, folks, please subscribe to her channel. Let's boost it by another 1,000 or more. We can do that. That would be kind of cool, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. We're going to talk more about that portrait. I'll show you the pictures in the sun. They're there. Judith, thank you again, dear, and hope to see you here for the 10-year